because when you're with somebody for a while, you can't not get used to them. It's just a function of human behavior, but you have to like fight that desire to get complacent. We feel like, again, it should lean more towards like, let me make sure I'm getting what I need, but I may not always be as considerate of what my partner needs. And so when are we actually sitting down and talking about those things? Like, how do you feel like the relationship is going right now in terms of, I've been gone a lot. I've been really busy. I know I've been at the office really late. Like, how are you feeling? How do you feel about us? I just call them like a check-in, right? To make sure that, again, we still feel like we're on the same course. We still want the same things, but I often find that like we don't do that. And it's like years that go by and like this person feels like she's over here and this guy feels like he's over here, and they're wondering why they like bicker a lot or they avoid each other a lot. And it's because you guys don't talk about anything.
That's like, a really good point.
Like, how could you?
Yeah.
You just, and again, we talked about growing and evolving, and you two are growing and evolving, of course, still now. So we have to keep doing these types of check-ins and discussions so that we make sure that we are still happy with where we are and we're still feeling fulfillment in our lives. But I find that a lot of us don't do that. So then again, we just kind of get surprised that we are where we are, or where we feel like we don't know if we can continue anymore. And I'm like, hey man, you can prevent that. You can, if you want to be proactive. Now, a lot of people are too reactionary. So that's where I find that they find themselves in the situations that they're in.
Well, I found that same issue would go on even in a business environment. Because when I was in the MBA program for, I don't know, a year and a half, that the management, by walking around and communicating with people and going from department to department, that a lot of the issues that occurred was because of lack of communication. And it's like, as soon as the channels got opened up, issues went away, and things were much more productive and healthy for everybody.
Yeah. I even if you talk about whether it's business or relationship, to me, I think a lot about appreciation also, and feeling like, because you were talking earlier about kind of like what you contribute. I think for a lot of, again, this is my take, you guys don't have to agree. I think for a lot of guys, I think we act like we don't need a lot of things that we really do want. Like, we know women tend to want validation and they want to hear that they're appreciated. They're very big into words typically. And guys, we're just kind of like, I'm good. But I think we really do want those things. Maybe we don't feel like we need it as much, but I think every now and then it is nice to hear, needed. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you did this. I value you for what you offer to us, to me, to our lives.
Or just thank you for doing that.
Right. General acknowledgement.
Something little
attaboy.
Yeah.
Right.
Attagirl.
I feel like those things matter, because sometimes I think one another thing I talk about is like complacency. I feel like it's a very, and maybe you guys can touch on this, it's a very natural thing that we have to fight, because when you're with somebody for a while, you can't not get used to them. It's just a function of human behavior, but you have to like fight that desire to get complacent, because then maybe the person feels like they're not appreciated or they're not valued. Like, so you're taking me for granted because I'm always going to be here, right? And you're like, no, I recognize that you're not. I recognize that I want you to be here and that you choose to be here. So how can I maybe demonstrate that to you in a way that you feel that from me? But I don't often hear that. I would like to hear your thoughts on that before I continue.
It's quiet time and personal time is so important. Having time with just her, it's fulfilling, it's rewarding. Planning trips together and doing things together, it's where I find a lot of happiness.
Yeah. You feel the same?
I do.
Okay. No, it's good. You guys are keeping it simple. No, and like I said, I think it's just it's a situation where the greater we are able to effectively communicate with one another, the more likely we're going to get the needs that we have will get them met. But sometimes we either expect that the person, this is a big one, this is why I asked you the question. When we stay together for so long, again, complacency, you feel like the other person should know.
Right.
Should.
You should
being
know
the
what
operative
I'm
word.
thinking.
You
Yes.
should know. And I pushed back because I said, I don't care how long you've been together. You're not always going to know. You get used to a person, so you probably know. I'm sure you know things that she likes, and you know things that he likes. But he can always surprise you, and she can always surprise you. But oh, I didn't know you were into that. I didn't know you liked that. So that discourse to me is really important because those things could change.
Right.
But you wouldn't know if you're not talking about it. If you're just like, well, after 10 years, you don't actually have to talk anymore.
Right. Or
Right.
I don't have to say I love you. He knows I love him.
Right. I mean, you can say that,
But
and I get that,
Right.
but every
Right.
now and then you're probably
And he
like,
does.
no, I do want to
but
hear
I
that.
do want to say that.
I do want to hear that. And I want to
Oh,
tell you that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to say it.
Yeah. Like, I want to hear that when I come in the door. Like,
Mhm.
made me feel good after a long day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to come home and, if you don't have a dog, to have somebody be happy to see you. Like, we don't have a dog anymore.
Just coming in. I'm so happy.